Right, there we go. Shut that up. Great. My throat is... Play, don't give me a mate. Actually, just okay. We'll be alright. We'll firm it. I'm dying, but we move. Right. Oh, someone's joined last minute and cancelled the fucking... Oh, Thomas has made it. Alright, that's fine then. Right, cool. He's in the wrong car. Thomas. Well, Thomas is in the wrong car, but that's okay. I can't wait to lose by a lot. Yeah, I mean, F2 has... F2 has a very big field spread, to be fair. So, I don't know. Pole's going to be a mid-20. I can tell you the PSGL F10 pole was a 20.4. Or PCF10. I did a 0.8 in that quali because I did not practice, but yeah. Let me check my mic settings. Give me a moment. You can look at my computer settings. Wow. Sound frequently. No, not storage. Right. Input up to 100. Okay, it immediately puts it down to 82. Stop being stupid. There we go. Right. Here we are. Let's see, who's going to be first out? It's going to be a Ferrari. Who will be first out? We've also got Millimed coming out here. Let's get our data on, as always. It's going to be Tyler out onto the track first. For Ferrari. So, I'm having an issue when my game audio is really, like, quiet on the engine sound. Let me turn them up to 10. That, you know what, for commentary that's fine, but for racing I still need higher. Anyways, just let me know how the audio balance is. I think the volume of the car shouldn't be too bad now. But yeah, just let me know. Right, anyway, so Qatar. We've got 29 laps, high tyre wear circuit. It's going to be interesting. People are going to obviously try the one-stop. Should be pretty possible for everyone, to be fair. It is a little difficult, but nothing people can't achieve. A lot of high-speed corners, not really many heavy braking zones, not many opportunities to overtake other than the main straight. And DRS trains are quite common. So here we go then. With Tyler for the first lap of the day. He's going to have a better traffic coming out the pit lane and onto the battery into the DRS, and we are away. Still taking this line. This was the line in pretty much every game up until this point. I really don't know if it's actually any quicker on this game anymore. I guess maybe it's still slightly less bumpy. Fourth gear turn 1. That's what I prefer as well. Here, fourth gear again. Can debatably use fifth in both, but that's all down to preference, and also leans on setup quite a bit. Into the double right-hander, you want to carry as much speed as possible, and definitely a hot spot for invalidated or picking up track limit warnings, as now into the hairpin, not using too much of the curb on the entry there, could have used more on the outside to open up the corner further. As through sector 2, we have this right-hander, very awkward, you want to kind of modulate the throttle throughout it, and then head using all the curb there, cut across the inside, swoop to the right, you can get right up to the white line on track limits if you fancy it, and then final sector should be mostly flat out, If I were that Red Bull, I'd have moved, maybe not there, but it's not going to hurt too much. Use a bit of battery hefty here, because otherwise you scrub off too much speed for 7th, and you're going to lose time. Tyler doesn't do that, but uses 6th there, which is what you want to do. And I'd say like about 15% battery out the final corners normally alright, 15 to 20. Tyler has a bit more than that. Goes 21.5 to start off, so not bad there. Callum Morris has just started a lap, so it'll be Andy. No, it'll be Melamed. I literally saw him come out the pit lane and still got it wrong. Conor McCabe in the Mercedes goes to a 22.1. As we will then have not Callum Morris, Sam in the final sector. I don't know if that Alpine's on lap. I believe it's John starting, yeah. So, up to the line for Sam. He's going to go P2, 21.4 there for the Red Bull. David, P4, 21.7. So that will be Leon starting. So we look to Marco racing on controller because his wheel has broken. So this could be an adventure. He's kept it valid, which is probably the most impressive part about it so far. But he hasn't used his battery very well. The lap time is going to be a 1:25.6, which isn't obviously ideal. Anyways, Andy goes quickest on a 20.8 banker. That's very fast for a banker lap. What about Bayode? 21.7, a bit further down for Bayode compared to where I think I would have expected him. Callum Morris is probably going to be up there, I would guess. No, 21.9. So Bayode and Callum not great off the first runs, and we have Tuka here returning to league racing for the first time since F1 2021, and he'll go into P6 there with a 21.7. John next here in the Alpine. He's going to do a 21.9. So everyone's sort of slotting in the 21 somewhere, other than Andy, who's set a stormer of a banker, to be perfectly honest. Brilliant lap from him. Leon, oh gosh, maybe a bit dirty air or blocking there, kind of. Didn't look comfortable through the final corner. It's a 22.1 there. Harvey's invalidated. What about Lucas? Looking pretty decent. Oh, a bit white there though. Just understeered on the entry. It's going to cost him a little bit, but it's not going to be detrimental to his lap, I don't think. I reckon probably in the sort of same range as 21.7, yeah, 21.8. Right in the mix. Let's have a look at Bradley then. Getting himself a nice bit of practice for F4 here. Took pole in F4 Mexico, I believe, or that might have... Hold up. F4 had a lobby restart, and I've given Bradley pole on the standings. The standings might be wrong for F4. Hopefully Bradley actually got pole. If someone wants to go and check that for me, and fact check me on that, you can. Because I might have done F4 standings wrong because of that. Oh, just about in the track limits. Obviously, this final sector is not easy on a pad. I feel like he did a little wiggle to suggest his lost time. But up to the line, he's going to run out of battery, and it's a 23.1, about 1 second off the pace, but considering he's F4, I mean, it's completely respectable. Jarvis here's on a decent middle, 57.2. Is going to be challenging, I think, 3rd place on this banker, depending on what his wings are like for the final sector. Manages to keep it in 7th through there. You can do that if you carry enough speed. The battery usage looks very nice here from the Mercedes, and it's going to be a 21.2 3rd place, like I said. Very nicely done. Thomas will be next. Had a bit of a treacherous race, failed to win the title yesterday. There's turned up last minute in the wrong car today, but that is a very competitive middle sector once again. And for the F3 Championship leader, he might be about to turn up very nicely here in F2. Does he fancy a bit of the front row is the question we'll have to ask. But you have to think Omid and Jarvis were both F3 at the start of the season as well. So, you know, his competition, or what could have been his competition, are right with him. It's just he obviously didn't move in the end. Kick Sabre starting will be David next. Let's have a look how David can do. Currently sits P7 after his race win last time out in Baku, which he was very pleased with, being his obviously favourite track. And one that he's performed particularly well on in the past. He did manage to take the win there. Very wide through turn one, that's not gone well. I feel like he got stuck on the curb. You do want to use the curbs, but you also want to sort of attack off them quite early, because they can sort of take you away a bit. Had to back off a little bit, but keeps it right on the edge of track limits, though. Has a slight improvement for Sector 1. He'll be looking for more than that, though, out of Sector 1. There's quite a very wide field spread compared to usual today. I think even Baku on a mystery GP was a bit closer than this, which is quite surprising for how short of a track Qatar is. David's found a lot of time in that middle sector. Are we happy with that? Battery usage has been pretty decent, maybe a little too much. But actually, no, he'll be alright. Up to the line, 21.5 up to P6 for David. Gets himself a bit of an improvement. Bayard has invalidated. Lucas Hodes, what a time to swap to him. Conor Morris has just started, so has John. Conor McCabe's also invalidated. We've got quite a lot of invalidations here. Leon is still going though. In the Racing Bulls. Currently 14th after a treacherous last sector, I think would be the best way to describe it last time. He is actually down on his time this time around, but if he just sorts out the final corner, I think he's going to be decently competitive towards the midfield. Yeah, Andy with an absolute stormer of a lap. Harvey has jumped up to P8 there. Let's see what both RB drivers can do. Bayard did invalidate actually. Leon goes up to 7th, which will then be looking. Tyler's going to be going again. That'll be Callum Morris, who's half a second up. Bakalik has made it. This is a big lap from Callum, I think. So far, actually, half a second. Well, he's going to put him near the front. And he's going to be P4. It's a big improvement, but he might want more out of that as Omid here. Up to the line. Can he beat his teammate? No, just about improves. John is about even so far. Can't grab himself an improvement. What about Tuka? Goes to the line. P4 for the Ferrari. Very nicely done. Marco next will take his time down by a second. I think he'll be happy with that considering the circumstances, to be perfectly honest. That's going to be Andy who has backed off. Thomas is going to be going again. Harvey's obviously finished his lap, so it'll be Tyler and the Ferrari. Let's see how he's getting along. Can he find himself a bit of time? Certainly got plenty of battery. I want to be using that here. And then up to the line. Getting slightly overcompensated on the battery. Few drivers have done that so far. Car teleporting onto the track, that's not distracting at all. As he goes up to P8 there with a small improvement. I think we have Sam will be next. He's a 10th and a half down. But might be able to find some time in the final sector. He's going to finish the lap, which makes me think he might have done so. He hasn't. He's on about even. Unfortunately, there for him. Jarvis is invalidated, so he'll be going back to the pit lane. John has presumably run out of fuel. My game lagged really bad then. Thomas is 2.5 tenths up here, so he's on a very good lap. Let's see then. Not much battery for up to the line. He might lose a little bit because of that, but no, he's going to go to the front row here with a 21-0. Very nicely done there from Thomas. As Bakalik maybe heading out, giving us some early entertainment. As yeah, McLaren very strong in this qualifying so far. Ferrari and Red Bull with both drivers up there as well. Struggles for RB so far. We will be both looking to find quite a bit of time coming into this final run, I would suspect. Especially Bayode, who will be wanting to keep his foot in near the front of the grid for his championship challenge. Alright then. Time for Bakalik to show us what he can do. He did decent yesterday. Can he repeat his success from yesterday again today is the question. Nice through turn 1. In what will be most likely his only lap. And it's looking good so far. Taking it safe around there, but that makes sense because he does only have one chance here. Sector 1 is overall not too bad, especially considering Bakalik is an F3 driver usually. Oh, he has invalidated, so he's going to have to back off and go again. That is going to have incurred a bit of tyre wear. Bayode here starting just ahead of that traffic, which he will be happy with. As I feel like Oscar may have gone slightly too ambitious for pole unless Andy can produce that mid-20. Bayode only half a tenth up here. And to be honest, the Sector 1 split wasn't fantastic. Maybe a bit more of a race build here for the RB. He seems to have a lot more understeer induced than a lot of other drivers, so I'm feeling like his rear wing might be, we're talking high 20s, mid 20s maybe, I'm not sure, but he's 2 tenths up here and he's, I don't know, maybe I'm correct with that, maybe I'm completely wrong. I didn't see his top speed, to be honest. He didn't look that much better, so maybe I am just being completely wrong. As up to the line, it will be a 21.3 P7, puts him much closer to where he would ideally like to be. Jarvis will be next, as they've all got to make the line here, and they don't have a lot of time. So they do need to get a move on. Just actually, is Thomas is that first accident. I don't think he makes the line. As Jarvis here, currently P4, is 2 tenths up in Sector 1, 29.8, very, very good first sector time. That's where you want to be. Let's see if he can maintain this pace for the rest of the lap. He's invalidated! Oh, that is unfortunate for the Mercedes. That is a storming start to the lap. But unfortunately, it will end up invalid. Bakalik, let's see what he will do on his used tyres. It's going to be P12. Just ahead of Harvey there, but not quite any more than that. Lucas has retired. And we have Bradley, who's invalidated, so it will not be Jarvis either, it'll be not Marco, David, who has found 2 temps so far. With how close the grid is, he could gain a lot of position. 5th gear, plants it around the final corner, and he'll go P6, fair enough, 21.2. Leon, big improvement incoming for the RB, goes up to 4th, 21.2. We've got one of the McLarens, Omed coming to the line, goes fastest with a 0.7. Next up will be Tuka, who I can't get on to, but he went to 4th. Andy has invalidated his improvement. Behind will be John, who stays 16th after improving half a second, I think. Or he was invalid on half a second improvement. Harvey also invalid. Tyler went to 8th as Callum Morris jumped up. Sam has invalidated. Thomas goes quicker, but only to a 0.9, so will stay 3rd. So, McLaren will lock out the front row here today in Qatar with a great qualifying performance from the both of them. Andy unfortunately invalidating as Thomas and Tuka will be on the second row. Then it'll be 2 Red Bull powered cars of Callum and Leon. Then Jarvis and David, Tyler and Bert rounding out the top 10. Then Sam and Daniel. Then Harvey and Connor. Then Lucas and John. And at the back will be Bradley and Marco. Right. I'll skew the close. Right. Bit of a wait here. Everyone changing their setups up, picking their strategy. I would hope to see a lot of people on mediums. I just don't rate hards here whatsoever. I might be the biggest hater of starting on hards I don't rate. Right, here we go then. 5 red lights here in Qatar for round 9 in GRS, and we are underway, and it's a good start from Andy alongside his teammate, and so for Tuka as well. He's going to be trying the outside line as Omed will lead into turn 1. They will go side by side as 2 by 2 a lot of them go. We've got 3 wide in the background, a Haas running wide, just keeping out of trouble most likely there, as everyone making it through unscathed so far. Thomas trying to take the position from Tuka here. Can he get that move? He can. Tuka has to back out of it. Callum Morris trying to find a way through as well. He's going to look to the outside of this corner as Leon behind them both. Oh, tags Callum a bit there with a mistake under the braking, and that's going to allow Jarvis up to 5th. Callum Morris trying to defend that 5th place. So has the inside line and will be able to do it for now, as it's a good getaway at the front for the McLarens, and they will maintain their 1-2. Leon here right on the back of Jarvis, putting a lot of pressure on. Understeers off wide though, as Tyler has managed to get past David, and Sam's going to be trying as well. I don't know what we're going for moves in the final sector for, but sure. Apparently just don't use none to try and regen battery. People are going to try to take the opportunities. Racing Bulls up ahead with a mistake. That's Leon. Tyler will go through there, as we've got yellow flags at the back. That's going to be John, who has had a bit of a spin, it seems. Maybe contact could have happened there. As Bayo's down in 16th as well, so he's had an issue somewhere on that opening lap. It actually might just be the hard tyres, to be honest. They might have caused him some issues. Speaking of tyres, taking a look, it is just Bayard and Bradley on those hards off the start here. Everyone else on the mediums. Let's see then. Conor McCabe close to the back of Harvey here, but not really any sort of opportunities going to open up there particularly, as we have a gap forming here. Jarvis going to have to pick up the pace a little bit to close back in, but he's not particularly under too much pressure from behind to do so. As Bayard and Bradley are going to have to run this race from the back to try and get themselves back up on those hard tyres. One thing to watch out for is penalties as well here. Very easy to pick up, as Bradley has been off the track there, as I say that. And Tyler with the fastest lap. There. And pretty big DRS strain forming us. Here we go. Bayard will go for this move up into 15th, and now has to bridge back up, but I don't think he'll be doing that for a little while. Although in about a lap's time he should be a bit better off. But yeah, those hards are just going to be at a extremely strong pace deficit for a while. So it's just something he's going to have to keep in mind. As Marco picks up our first penalty of the day, 3 seconds there on a lap 3 of the race. I'm actually going to keep the penalties tab open because I think it's interesting to see at Qatar. I made a prediction we'd get 100 seconds worth of penalties yesterday. We didn't. I'm not going to go for the same again today. Instead I'll go for 75. You'd think F2 would maybe be a bit better, but I don't back it. I don't back it to be much better. As McLarens do have the ability to be able to swap if needed. Tuka here, putting the pressure on Thomas into turn 1. He's going to look for the outside line. Thomas is going to brake later. Can he hang it around the outside? He's going to try keep his foot in with a bit of battery used. On the inside now for the Ferrari, as my game is really functioning well. But Tuka with the drive, he's going to get himself up to 3rd place there. Great move from the Ferrari driver to put himself further up on the track. And now he just has the McLarens in his sights for now. Yeah, the DRS strain does go all the way down to 14th. No one has dropped out yet, which fair enough. Fair enough to everyone for keeping with it. Battery usage from Tyler. He couldn't decide if he wanted to use it or not. Certainly interesting. As Callum Morris closing into the back of Thomas in the final sector. Is down on 30% battery. Thomas as well. The McLarens are looking pretty comfortable at the front. they can sort of just run this race how they want to. Normally I would recommend an overcut here, however, if I were the McLaren team, I'd get both their drivers in fairly early. I'd also probably box Andy first, if he's still the second driver at that point. I'd box whoever the second driver is, try and give a bit of breathing space to first place. But I'm sure with Andy in the title fight, I'll be interested to see if McLaren are going to play any games towards that, or considering no one's too close at the moment, they're happy to give Omid the race win. Obviously we have seen plenty of championship games in the past in GRS here, so we'll have to see if that's going to be the case once again in F2 this season. A lot closer this lap. So that's Callum Morris with a 3-second penalty. That is not ideal for him. Picking up a penalty early on. Bayode as well. So that's two of your title contenders with penalties early on here. Luckily for them, Qatar doesn't really produce safety cars, so if there are gaps that are going to form later on in the race and things are going to sort of iron themselves out, then they should be alright. Although, considering the DRS strains are pretty big at the moment, that a penalty that early on certainly could end up being quite costly for them. And well, Bayode's going to be on the alternate strategy. It probably is going to work a lot better for him than he'll be thinking it is at the moment. He'll probably be hating it at the moment, obviously struggling to bridge back up into the DRS of the guys in front. I reckon by about lap 8 he should be looking to maybe get there, as the pace differential should have swapped it certainly in favour of him by then, by a decent enough margin, but he's just got to go long with it is what he's got to do. He's got to commit to the strategy, and he's got to commit far to the strategy, in my opinion. He's got to go to an extreme, potentially, and try and absolutely rinse the benefits from it, as Daniel and Harvey both with penalties there in 11th and 13th. So we're up to 5 penalties as we begin lap 7 here. Tyler may be getting a bit closer, but not really got the resources to go for a move. Yeah, won't go for an attack this time around, as everyone holding formation at the moment. Yeah, this is what you want to see. Pretty much most of the grid in a DRS train, except for the fact that DRS trains are boring in this game. But it you know, it shows that a lot can still happen. Everyone pretty much has an opportunity, especially with penalties being in play. Lucas potentially looking for a move on Daniel there, his fellow countryman from Czechia. But he won't get it this time. As we look at the gap, Sam looks pretty close this lap to the back of Leon, I will say. Although both Sam and Leon have closed it a bit. Penalty there for Conor McCabe, who currently sits P12. Sam close, but I don't think it's enough. Yeah, no, it's going to be defended quite comfortably. As David has dropped a bit off the back from the heavy usage of the guys in front, but he should be able to close it back in. Andy there, having to back off quite a bit, although Tuka will take a warning as a result of the dirty air from being so close. That's something to consider. Marco has retired there goes my prediction of 75 seconds of warnings, because I was banking on him to get about 18 of them. Yeah, controller for him, he's going to struggle. Tyler there with a penalty. He will be the next added to the list. But is only going to grow over the race. It is not easy to avoid a penalty the entire race here, to be honest. The track does require you to be dialed in, and especially with how dirty air and other parts of this game function, it's quite easy to get drawn into a mistake. And that's what's really going to benefit Omid being in P1, is the fact that he will not be suffering from that dirty air at the moment. He will be able to run this race at the pace he wants to. As lap 9 here, this would be a very early undercut if anyone fancied trying it. I don't think the hards particularly make the end very well at all. Though you do have to drive, or treat them quite nicely if you are going to go this level of early, as I don't think it would be worth it for anyone unless someone thinks with the DRS train maybe costing people a bit of lap time, although I'd say the proof is with Bayot not being able to catch up that these guys aren't driving that slowly. Certainly a good pace for a DRS train is being driven here, which has still prevented Bayot from catching up, which has surprised me quite a lot, to be honest. So I don't think it's worth anyone trying an aggressive 2-stop. Leon picks up a 3-second time penalty in 8th place, and no, it won't particularly matter too much on the time penalties if everyone starts to get them. Is anyone going to go for this? Yes, they are. Callum Morris is going to go in early here. He's going to trigger the undercut, and I think that's going to push a lot more people to want to box earlier than they would like, potentially. And I think, honestly, it's not a terrible idea for the McLarens to bring in one this lap and one next lap in a response to that, to avoid an undercut from Callum Morris, who will be rejoining quite comfortably off the back. Not really much traffic to contend with currently, as Bradley and John will be decently up the road from him, so they aren't going to be a worry. But yeah, Callum does go for the early undercut. He's going to cost him a lot later on. He's going to be suffering. Alternatively, he needs to lay down the pace of his life on these hards, destroy them, and go for the 2-stop. Which, in all honesty, in his situation, I don't think he needs to do that sort of thing. He could have quite easily coasted it, probably not lost too many places, maybe like a P6 or 7 on penalties currently, just because Sam and David is. Speaking of which, Leon's made a mistake there, and Leon is in the gravel. Does he have any damage to go with that, is the question. The answer is no, but a mistake from the RB has thrown him way off the back and out of contention there. It's also going to create a bit of chaos for Sam and David, who neither will have DRS. I would consider boxing in their position, and they both will because of that, as Tuka also is responding to the earlier pit stop, and this is where the gaps are going to start to get created. Thomas is going to be forced to push a little bit more this lap if he wants to drag up and go for the overcut once again like he did yesterday. Did end up paying off decently, but maybe not as much as I thought it would for him yesterday, as it is going to be the front 5 staying out, and then a big gap in between where everyone's sort of forced into a position where they needed to pit there due to the mistake from the Racing Bulls driver. So yeah, things like that are crucial, because if Sam and David hadn't the box, they've lost the DRS, they then lose time down that straight. The gap extends to a point where they cannot recover it, so therefore if they box, they can make the undercut work and get back that time via that, rather than losing it down that straight. So it's a crucial move from them. They do have a bit of a gap also up to Callum Morris, showing that, you know, his undercut's okay, but not really gained, you know, mega amounts of time there. And I think Jarvis needs to push a bit in this final sector, try and get himself DRS, unless he's planning on boxing, in which case I would say he's going to box, considering the fact he saved a bit of battery there Although he's used... No, I'm not sure what the plan is, as Omed is pushed to go into the pits, and Andy and Thomas will be going for the overcut. Jarvis does go in, but Tyler has DRS, so he's not necessarily forced to box. Everyone here probably is boxing, other than Bayo, though. As Tuka has come out in a great position on those hards for himself there, and will be clear of having Callum Morris in his DRS, but does have to contend with Bradley shortly, who will be staying out for a while on those hard tyres, so will provide a bit of a bottleneck in this race, as Thomas here has managed to stick with Andy. The thing is, I could see it maybe even being beneficial to both of them to go for a bit of a overcut, as Omed does retain the position over Tuka, but will be under threat down that main straight on this lap, as Tuka should be able to put pressure on. Although with Bradley being ahead, it does mean Omed will probably have DRS this lap, which is going to potentially be a saving grace for him, having Bradley still out there. Thomas being forced to push at the front as well, as Bayo does have 6 seconds. I haven't picked up on that so far. But a bit of a no man's land race for Bayo. Leon finds himself off the back of Bakalik and Lucas, and will be needing to push to close that gap back up. So let's see, does anyone fancy boxing? Andy will go for it. Thomas stays out again, but he didn't get DRS. Ooh, I maybe would have boxed if I were him then. The benefit of staying out is how powerful the DRS is down that main straight. It provides a very strong counter. So yeah, unfortunately there for Thomas, he's not going to get that benefit, which is going to mean he'll potentially lose more than he would have bargained for, as this could get interesting here. Tuka and Omed are both going to want to try and dispatch of Bradley. Tuka is going to try get alongside on the inside. It's going to be full wide for a moment, as, oh my god, that is chaos, and they're still going to be side by side here. Can he get it on the outside line? The answer is, I think, going to be no, as they're pushing each other right to the edge of the limits here. As Callum Morris is also going to jump out ahead, and Andy's behind Bradley here, so he's going to be cost some time by the Haas driver as he's picked up the track limit and made contact. He's got damage. Andy has damage. And maybe a bit of impatience there has cost him that. And this is where the race can really open up at a track like Qatar. As David spearheading the train back here, as we've got to move further. Oh, Tyler, what's happened to Tyler? He's got a puncture. Tyler's got a puncture. He stayed out too long. Tyler has stayed out too long, and he's got a puncture on that Ferrari. And he's had to crawl it back to the pits. He risked the overcut, which, if he'd managed to make it work, would have been great. Did Thomas also get one? I'm not sure. I'm interested to see where Thomas emerges, because he might have had one as well there. No, he hasn't. Thomas is going to be in a great spot here. Hold up. Surely he's not ahead of Andy. Oh my, the Thomas Underhill overcut here is insane. He's going to be net P4 on massively fresh tyres. Yeah, Thomas is in the wrong car. He didn't have time to select. He joined the lobby as it started, so just before it fully loaded, so it kind of just auto-selected a car for him and put him at Aston. But Thomas with a great overcut here. And this is going to be massive for him. His tyre wear, he's got... hasn't he got a 2-lap advantage on anyone? Yeah, Thomas is in the absolute money if he can catch up. He needs to push, though. He needs to get that gap, because that is very good for him, as Jarvis picks up a penalty there. David has also bridged back into this due to Andy probably causing this train to slow down a bit with that damage. Oh, David on the exit there with probably a similar thing to what happened to Leon. He's pushing, though. He's trying to get himself a guarantee of DRS, but it's not guaranteed yet. He's going to be right on the edge and will probably drop out down the main straight, although we will have to see. He's going to absolutely rev out the engine, but he's going to get it. Harvey trying to keep the pressure on him in case he doesn't get it. And Thomas will, unfortunately for him, not have the DRS. But I don't believe Andy's going to be particularly providing too much of a threat to him as Andy sets the fastest lap in the race. Look at the overspeed on the McLaren though. Is he going to go for this move round the outside into turn 1? But he's going to understeer White with that damage. As that gives Thomas a breathing room where he now needs to push. Half a second is needed and he's already done 2/10 of it. This is where he's now going to benefit massively through the double right-hander. Let's see how much he can gain around here. He's gone off the track though. That's going to be a warning, and that might even be another one on the inside. Andy's off the track there as well. Probably both of them picking up warnings. Thomas 1.1. He's going to be trying everything he can to get that gap under 1 second here. And if he did have no warnings up to this point, maybe a tactical usage of one, which I would heavily respect, to be fair. Just to ensure that, well, I don't know if it was necessary, as John picks up a 3-second time penalty as well, which brings our total penalty list to about half the drivers remaining. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So only 7 drivers without a penalty at the moment, and we certainly know a few of those have warnings. We've seen 2 could be off the track once, and same with Thomas and Andy. So definitely not the end of the story on warnings, I don't think, as David here, he's going to miss out. This is going to put him well under pressure from Harvey Conway, who's going to be looking to probably bridge that gap for the 2 of them. Although David down the straight like a bullet. But I think he's out of battery, but Harvey's not going to be able to get close enough. David has not lost much time at all, to be fair to him, so he's going to be able to probably get himself in contention. He's got to get 2.5 tenths here, which, depending on the dirty F jobs, which isn't actually going to be that bad, I think he might struggle actually then. Right. Get a bit of a breather for a bit now, but there you go. We finally get some action in this race. David's made a big mistake somewhere. He's down to 1.8 off. Which means he's just going to be sort of at the head of this train, I guess, for P9. Which probably will become P8 when Bayode obviously eventually boxes. It's not bad, as he does have drivers with penalties around him, so as long as he can pick one up himself, he's pretty alright. Just needs to not really let Lucas Hodes get into a position where he can go for a run. So, fastest lap goes to Sam. As all Allo. Tuka's having a look. Doesn't get it, as we have a few moves going on further back on it past Lucas, but Lucas is going to re-go for it into turn 1, and he's going to sweep back ahead, to be fair to him. Defends that position nicely. Leon trying the outside. Okay. There was a car there, Bakalik, I will say. Maybe not the smartest position to go for a move, but, you know, he was making his intent. You know, that he was going to try that move. Or at least put his car there. For that matter. Jarvis here having to push quite a bit now to try and stick with the guys in front. They are laying down very good pace. Andy having to push for his life with that wing damage. And well, he'll be motivated by the fact that Callum Morris does have a 3-second time penalty, so he can still definitely stay in contention with him. That would have been close to all. That also was very close to the one. He's pushing the track limits a bit here. Thomas is off again. That's at least 2 warnings for him now. Or should be anyways. As, Jarvis will drop out. David's even been dropped by Harvey. Harvey laying down big pace here in that Haas. As Bayode boxes. 17 laps is how far he wants to go. Let's see what the pace will be like for him. Is this strategy going to have ended up paying off? Thomas off the track there again, and Callum Morris going to stay ahead. Bayode will be out behind Tyler. Tyler might honestly want to let him go. think Lucas was losing the car on the outside, and Colin was kind of just drifting out to the outside. That was a bit messy. Oh god, Bakalic's here. That's an interesting move to be going for. As Bradley is up to 9 seconds. And him and John are just having a nice time at the back here. Keeping each other company. Let's see then. Thomas deploying the battery quite aggressively here. To be fair to them, only the front two really have a decent stop. I think there's Santos as well. As David's out. Struggling in the kick salvo. Someone's... Oh, there's Bayode. And on those fresh mediums has made a mistake. Keep it off the road there. There could be... there might be a few people trying to throw in some track limit reports on people, I have a feeling. I just have a feeling they might be trying stuff like that. They love to do it in this tier. They love the reports in this tier. Play on no track limits now. It's not my fault that your wheel has broken, Martha. Alright, Thomas is going to try it again. No, it's not. Not this time. Just trying to give himself a big gap at the front, which he will manage to do. As we have a move, Akalik goes up to P11. That's pretty much all I've got about that one. Oh, Connor's off. Thomas is following a lot closer on this, probably due to his fresher tyres. No way F2 drivers using TC. I mean, Connor is an F3 driver. He uses filter action. Let me figure out if any of the F2 drivers do. I know Omid does. And two pedals using Gnosis. I'm pretty sure. Calamaris doesn't. Thomas... No, Thomas doesn't. Andy doesn't. I don't think Sam does. No, there's Jarvis. No, there's Harvey. Harvey might be a medium, I don't know. I don't know, just... Lucas and David don't. But yeah, I don't think any of the actual F2 drivers use traction control. It sets the fastest lap. And penalties for both John and Andy. Yeah, Andy's the important one there, as that's going to give Sam some more points. And he's also going to give Callum Morris more of a margin there. If we look at the standings and look at the current, I guess you could say, projected finishing positions, we will have Callum Morris scoring what looks to be a 5th place, which will put him on 120. You'll have Andy scoring a 6th place, which will put him on 120. And you'll have Bayo not scoring, which will keep her at 116, but does have the fastest lap point, so currently 117, and I think he will probably keep that. So it's going to be 3 points. Bayard will, unfortunately, I think, drop to the back of the championship fight, but he's, to be honest, his rivals aren't scoring many points as he's picking up quite a few track limit penalties here. And we have a move. Leon has got past Connor, who has fallen out of the RS. Looking further around in the summons, David's currently on for P8. He currently sits 4th in the standings. He was ahead of Lucas Holtz, who is probably currently the closest driver in the championship team. Although with Sam looking to pick up a P4 here, he's going to be pushing himself up to 49. David will take himself to 62 currently, 61. Actually 60 because he's going to drop behind Lucas as well. And that's going to give Lucas the leverage to probably gain up to P8, which will put him on 44. Anyone else? Leon is probably going to take P11 off Baccaley penalties so far, but could get further. Again, no one really near the top 3 at all. David kind of in a gap on his own after his win at Baku. Although Omed will also be certainly gaining a lot from this. Lucas Holtz makes that move. So, after we finish this run, it'll be 4 laps to go. What are these two doing? Bayer's ahead of Tyler. Tyler will probably be frustrated with the puncture, which could be down to the fact I did tell him to go for an overcut. But to be honest, if his tyres were on like 75 going on to that lap, I think he should have been able to do, you know, a little bit of mental maths to figure out my predicted idea for him wasn't quite going to pay off. So, sorry but not sorry, I guess. Tuka playing it safe on the shot limits there. Was that Tuka? I think it was. I believe he probably was on 2 minutes. Ooh, Andy's going for the move on Thomas with the wing damage. Thomas does not have a penalty there, but it's trying to give him a chance at going for Callum Morris. He's going to go for the inside here. Hasn't really worked. Might cost Thomas the RS though, which is why he's probably thinking. And he'll know he'll have a slight tyre advantage over Callum, who, I'll be honest, is kind of slightly fading off. Saber in tyre problems help. Yeah, what, because David boxed on lap 10 and now is going to significantly struggle to make the end. So that's what happens if you don't push it to a reasonable lap here. Okay, and okay, and not my problem. So you could try to get close this time around, but can't quite get close enough. But they are threatening Gaff and Callum Morris. Lucas has got the pace, he's caught up to Harvey and overtaken him. Baccaley has also overtaken David, who is slowly fading away, and Leon is probably going to be putting him under pressure for that position shortly. Yeah, I feel like a lot of drivers are starting to build up some tyre wear issues here. If we take a look at the hard tyres, very quick on everyone, 15 laps on Callum Morris is going to be stressful for him towards the end. anyone on 15 and 14 are not in the best position here. And well, Thomas should be the best off out of them, and to be honest, isn't driving like exactly. Even though he was put under pressure, I will give him that, but he should be ideally getting back into DRS and Callum Morris, which I think he will just about achieve on this lap. So, yeah, we'll see how this race is going to continue to unfold in these last few laps. And he will be out of DRS, but Sam's not really close enough to capitalise on that. To close the game. I was watching that gap, I promise. Oh, hello, hello, hello. No, not quite. He's gone for something can't speak. Unorthodox. I like it. You don't see that every day. Are we going to see anyone throw in the towel and go to the pit lane at a tyre wear here? Is the question. I would be interested to know the percentage of the likes of Callum, David, Tuka, etc. Tuka looks alright. Callum and David seem to be struggling quite a bit, and two, his wing damage is going to be just not helping in any way, shape or form, to be perfectly honest. Did Lucas and Backlick box later out of it? Yeah, they boxed a lap later and they've managed to work their way up. So that's paid off for them. So if you want to succeed, box on at least lap 11 or later. Here's my advice for the F1 and F4 drivers tomorrow. Don't box on that 10 or 9. You're going to cause yourself a world of trouble. These two are still very similar on battery, they have been the whole time. Very interesting, as Bayud up to 13th. If he didn't have those time penalties, he'd be in a good position. That screen freeze is crazy, by the way. Oh my god. I'm going to... just give me a moment, please. Right, apologies. I don't know what's causing things. I will figure it out, I hope, for tomorrow. Otherwise, I'm going to be in the mud. Anyways. Let's see, lap 27. Oh, I missed regened a lot more this lap. Can Tuka get it? Can he get the track position on this lap? He's going to be close, but not close enough. We're in the mud if you have a screen freeze tomorrow. I'm starting to get worried myself, to be honest. I've had a few interesting moments during this stream. Conor McCabe goes to the pits, maybe out of, like I said, fear of a puncture. Had two swing freezes in one quality lap. I think it's an EA thing. Might be Thomas, here we go! We've got the screen freeze in the overtake, but it is a move completed. There we go. It might be too little to wait. Thomas has nearly max battery. Hold up. It might not be too late for Thomas to try something here. He's a bit far. I think Jarvis is disconnected. That is a horrendous time to disconnect. by the time he's rejoined, the lap will be done. As Tuka to the outside. Can he hang it in there? He can. Omed leaves the space to the inside for Tuka. Switch back from Omed. He's going to keep it side by side. Here we go. This is racing. But these two have got to be careful. Thomas's battery stocked up behind us. We're going to stay side by side into the double right-hander. Oh, there's contact between the two of them. And I feel like Omed might have come across him a bit there. Oh. But this is going to give Thomas some leverage. Who has the battery advantage? Very cultured drivers, very clean. Oh dear. Robert, you've cursed that one, mate. But now it's on for Thomas. Can Thomas put in a last minute attempt here? He's going to get on the battery on the exit here. He's going to have slipstream. What can Thomas do? Is there any way past in this final sector is the question. Thomas wins after penalties, he does. Does he want it on track is the question. Is he close enough? No, not really. And yeah, Omed does have battery as well. So Omed will win on track. But I feel like Thomas has probably got that win coming. Tuka comes across the P3. I don't think he'll be too happy with that though. I don't think he'll be particularly happy with that. Red Bull 4-5, Andy in 5th. Lucas in 6th, back a lake. Oh no, Andy in 6th. Lucas 6th, back a lake. Oh my god. I've got it wrong again. Lucas 7th, back a lake 8th. Harvey 9th. Leon 10th, David 11th. Tyler 12th, Faye 13th. Mercedes 14 and 15. Jarvis is AI boxed. Jarvis is AI boxed. Jarvis is not. I didn't even see that. He was running 7th and probably would have finished there, but his AI has boxed him for whatever reason for softs on the last lap. I didn't even see that had happened. Oh, that is tragic. That is absolutely tragic from the game. If he'd have disconnected, like, 7 seconds later, he would have been past the pit lane. And he would have been fine. But his AI has boxed him. For whatever reason, I don't know. Cleanest driver Lucas is. I'd say, to be honest, he has been in a lot of races. And the game's given him driver of the day, which fair enough, from 15th to 7th. Sam as well, 11th to 4th. Good race there from him as well. And Harvey also moving up. There you go. There you have Qatar here. Colin McCabe takes that fastest lap point from Bayode. Bayode will finish with none, meaning he will be 1:21:21:16. For those guys, here is your big list of track limit warnings. Did we get 75 seconds, holder? 3, 6, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 33. Bring it back up, please. I need it from Jarvis downwards. 36, 51, 57, 69, 72. I swear down, if Marco did retired about 2 laps later, he'd have had 6 seconds. My prediction was 3 seconds off. Whatever. I've failed twice. I'll make a prediction for F1 and F4 tomorrow. And I will get it. I will get the track limit penalties correct. That's my goal. Right. Thank you all for watching this stream. We'll be live with F1 and F4 tomorrow. And next week, we'll be back for Las Vegas. So, we'll see you.